What up everyone, Brandon here for this week's comic break. I know it looks a little bit different because I'm not standing in front of my action figures. That's because I moved around my room and this seemed like the best spot to do the video. But let's get to the comics. First off is independent books. First book is Valen The Outcast, and I kind of blanked out a little bit there. But it's issue number 1 by Boom Studios. It was only $1. Good little start off book. Gives you introduced to the main character and a couple of supporting characters. Story is pretty much about Valon. He was a king in his own country, fighting off against this evil scourge. He ends up getting killed in that fight and becoming a undead warrior for the scourge, pretty much. In this book, he's pretty much trying to get back his kingdom, get back his life, and pretty much is going to be the journey of that. Pretty decent book so far. Just the start of it. We give this a 3 out of 5 rating. Next is Blast from the Past, if I might say. It's Voltron, issue number 1 from Dynamite. This book got me very nostalgic. I remember watching Voltron as a little kid, and this is pretty much brought it all back. It's pretty good. Artwork is pretty good. Story takes place Voltron and space explorers a couple years after the whole series, I believe. Not certain if this happened in the series, but Voltron moves on its own. I believe the team can still pilot it, but it has a chance to actually move by itself and fight against the monsters. So in this issue, Voltron's in the background fighting against the monster in the city on Earth, while the Space Explorers team is out trying to save people on foot and everything. It's pretty cool because it actually goes through a little flashback to 2011, where you have the president talking to a scientist trying to figure out some way to protect themselves from an alien threat that they haven't yet, that they believe is going to happen soon. Find out that the scientist is actually the main bad guy in Voltron. So that was a real twist. I was like, And also, so towards the end, Voltron gets kind of captured by the enemy forces. So really interested to see how this book turns out. Definitely giving this a 4 out of 5. Next is Heart by Bear Butler from Image Comics. Issue number 2. It's only a 204 little miniseries. Anybody who knows comics should know Bear Butler. She's the comic correspondent for Attack of the Show. She has her own Fresh Ink video. But this book is pretty good. It's about MMA fighter Rooster. This is still pretty much telling some of his backstory and his couple first fights, and he quit his job and everything. Is pretty entertaining too. Some shit that happens to him. Just definitely getting a 4 out of 5. Okay. Next up, we got DC Comics. And first I was starting off with is Action Comics issue number 4. Now, people who know me, I'm not really the biggest Superman fan at all. Not really. Like, the character there is like, oh, it's a good character, but I don't like the whole, I'm not on the hype wagon for him, I guess you could say. But Action Comics is a pretty good book. I really like it. Grant Morrison is really doing a good job with this one. This book, we got him fighting against Corbin, who also ends up becoming Metallo, but I don't think they didn't get that name yet for him yet. But Superman's fighting against Metallo in this issue, and also we get introduced to Steel. And I really like Steel. The character, John Henry Irons, that the guy is awesome. He just shows up, starts smacking Steel around, or Corbin around. It was an awesome book. I definitely give this one a 5 out of 5. Really done well. Even got a little backstory of the whole fight, with Steel after the main story of it. So definitely a good pickup. Next up is Red Lanterns issue number 4. Now for me, I like Green Lantern. Everyone knows I like Green Lantern. So definitely gonna be reading all the tie-in, or not tie-ins, but other stories for Green Lantern. Red Lantern books been doing pretty good. At first, it kind of slow started off. I didn't know if I was gonna continue with it, but this issue really kind of picked it back up for me. This one we get Atrocitus trying to figure out if his lantern is actually going to try to go up against him, and he's very worried about that. And so he's trying to find that out. So he ends up trying to get 3 other of his lanterns back their consciousness. So he throws them into the bloody river to see if they'll come out. I'm not sure if they actually say if they died or not in this issue, but they last thing you seen, they were pretty much all floating to the bottom of the river, where pretty much if you don't get out, you're pretty much dead. But in it, you see each of their little backstories on who they were before they became Red Lanterns, which was pretty good. Also, we get a peek into the. He's also looking for someone new to join his ranks, and we go to Earth where we been seeing these 2 brothers, go back and forth in the back end of these stories. And so I'm pretty sure one of them is going to end up becoming a Red Lantern towards the end of it, and very interested to see how this continues. Also, at the end of this book, Kronos somehow is gone, so apparently somebody has stolen Kronos from Atrocitus. So I really want to find out who did it. This one definitely got a 4 out of 5 for me. Next up is Justice League International, issue number 4. We're getting introduced to a new character, Paroxys. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but he's the new bad guy for this group. Now, it's a Justice League Generation Lost for Brightest Day event. By far my favorite book during the whole Brightest Day stuff. Brightest Day itself wasn't even as good as Generation Lost, which I was hoping that they would have continued from that with this for International. But the same writing team and art team is on it, so I'm hoping that they kind of transform back into that storyline somehow later on down the road. But this has been pretty good so far. Paroxys pretty much just wants to get all of Earth's resources. That's why he has his 4 giant robots into place in different locations to mine all the main resources of the Earth. In the end of this issue, he pretty much starts up the process for that, and I'm really interested to see how this team stops him. Gives this a 4 out of 5. Next up is Batwing, issue number 4. Now, I'm one of the people who didn't really like Batman Incorporated. I really found that kind of weird for him to do that. But this character I really like. The artwork is perfect. Story's been pretty good. This issue, we're just following around Batwing, trying to figure out, get the rundown of his origin. Pretty much how he grew up as a guerrilla soldier, him and his brother, and what happened to make him change his ways from being that type of killer. Definitely like this book, giving this one a 5 out of 5. Next up is Static Shock, issue number 4. I really like the Static character. This book been pretty okay. It hasn't been like, oh my god, good, but I'm hoping that it picks up soon. This issue pretty much follow Pale Man, or I think it is. He looks kind of like Joker, but he's not Joker. You kind of find out that he's pretty much undercover trying to bust some of these criminals in New York that are trying to transform people into the metahumans. This one, Static Shock is finally gets a new metahuman they hasn't met yet, I believe. A pretty okay issue, giving this one a 3 out of 5. Last but not least, we got Stonewash, issue number 4. Now, Stormwatch's been a pretty good story. This is the continuation for the whole, I guess, beginning arc. It kind of sets up the rest for the next arc. We see Apollo kicking butt. We see the whole team fighting. Pretty okay book. Kind of like it. Kind of like how they kind of go in the shadows, so to speak, from the regular Justice League, because like regular Justice League doesn't know that they're around pretty much apparently. But it was all in all pretty okay book. Give it a 4 out of 5. That concludes this week's comic break. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for whatever comments I've been getting. Join y'all next week. Bye.